Hi there, I'm Christine Bentley in studio with Sharon Caddy, and as promised, joining us now is Chris Abel with a baggie full of treats, and we're starting with, Sharon, fashion show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yeah, New York Fashion Week was last week, and one of the big announcements, apparently, was Ralph Lauren has announced polo for women. So if you felt like you were missing out that you didn't have a little polo logo on your shirt, well, he's got a whole fashion line for women. Apparently it's urban and edgy. I don't know, I'm not a fashion expert, so I can't give you
I was going to say, good for you just knowing it was Fashion Week. I'm very proud of you. You came in all spiffed up here. You look good.
Yeah. Well, what drew my attention was the way in which they presented this. They used a holographic fashion runway. So I'll take you through it. It was nighttime. They asked all the female VIPs to come down to Central Park in New York, where there's a little water area. They call it a lake, but really it's just a pond. I mean, for those of us who live near great lakes, it's just a pond. And what they had was a machine in the middle of this pond that created a screen made out of water mist.
Ooh.
In fact, a 60-foot screen, about the size of an IMAX screen. And similar to an IMAX screen, it's not completely flat. There's a volume to it. There's a space there. And that allows them to be able to project images onto the actual water droplets themselves. And at a high enough resolution that you do get this very convincing effect of a dramatic CGI fantasy landscape that appears, which has a runway, and these beautiful, beautiful fashion models that start walking down the runway towards you. And it is a convincing three-dimensional effect.
Sound like you're describing some dream you had last night.
It feels like it.
There was this magical water and steam and
droplets
models on a runway.
And they were huge. 60-foot screens, so you're talking about women about 40 feet high.
Wow.
They had 50 looks that they went through in about half an hour. And, of course, being water as the theme, they actually had it look like these ladies were walking on water. And the way that the technology works, they're calling it 4D. It's kind of a 3D effect, is that it does seem like there's an actual physical runway that's going off to the distance when these women come out. They're coming at the back of the lake and walking towards you. So it's a more convincing effect than, say, a 3D movie. And one of the cool things about it, because it's all computer animated, is that they have an effect called projection mapping, which is that they can take solid objects and make them look like they're animated. And there's a beautiful sequence in the middle in which a lighthouse suddenly breaks through the ground and then emerges in the center of the lake. And I wanted to give you a bit of a taste of it. You can't watch it on the radio, but I've got a little bit of their sound. This is what that effect would sound like. Yeah, quite cool.
Chris, this is cool, and it is. I'd love to see it in person because I think it would be pretty amazing. But are there any, like with this technology, are there practical applications, or is this strictly an entertainment-based thing?
At this point in time, it's strictly going to be an entertainment-based thing. You know, in terms of using it for, say, medical, the resolution of the image isn't quite accurate enough for other applications that I know of. I mean, but yes, there is this idea that you can now take and create visual screens made completely out of water, and I think that that's interesting that you can do that. And it sounded like it was a really cool night. All the ladies that came, they were given flutes of champagne, and there was a little string quartet in the corner.
I mean, I'm picturing some kind of practical application, like for people that are perhaps on a dating website like Match.com, and you could just project the guy and say, yeah, 40-foot guy.
Yeah.
And he's a no. Move on to the next one.
Well,
Tinder fall.
Exactly.
Well, the logo would have shown up really well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great for branding.
At 40 feet.
You know,
That's
and Ralph Lauren came out as a hologram at the end, and so he was completely composed of mist.
That's
if
cool.
you wanted to, you could say he was all wet.
Oh.
Here's one of the VIPs that were at the event, what their reaction was. Her name is Sierra, and she's both a musician as well as a fashion model. One of the neat things about this technology, I've seen a small version of this at the Royal Ontario Museum, is that, of course, it's an experience you can walk through. So there is that unusual sort of sense of walking into a dark room, seeing a screen, and then being able to walk through and sort of have that refreshing experience of going through a waterfall of mist.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, what's the practical application? I don't know, but it's sort of again, fantasy sequence.
Well,
I think,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Now you're going to stay on the topic of Runway.
We are. So also at Fashion Week was Yahoo Style decided to debut a virtual fashion runway. So again, another technology, and they partnered with a company called Print All Over Me. So to explain Print All Over Me, an odd sort of name, is that there are several companies online that will allow you to print your own T-shirts, your own coffee mugs. You submit a design, and they do this. Print All Over Me has taken that to the great extent of including every type of clothing that's out there. So you can actually create your own designs and have them printed on raincoats, on sweaters, on skirts, all sorts of things. And so for Fashion Week, they partnered up with Yahoo Style, and they created a virtual runway. So if you have your own design that you've come up with for a hoodie or a skirt, you can upload it to their system through Tumblr or Instagram, and what they will do is they take that and their software wraps that imagery around a virtual mannequin. And so the benefit is when you go to their website, and this is going on until September 23rd, it's virtualfashionshow.tumblr.com, you can see your design appear on a virtual animated mannequin model walking down a runway towards your computer screen. And the advantage is not just to see what it looks like when somebody's wearing your jacket, but also they have the physics employed, so you can see the way that skirts swish, you can see the way the fabric moves.
Unbelievable.
That's cool.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, and the idea is that if you are watching this as a member of the audience, you can click on any of these designs and purchase them. I will warn you, however, that I guess this has become so popular that part of the deal is that if you upload a design and you make your own sweatshirt and somebody buys that, then you get a percentage of the cut. So Print All Over Me, they sell the clothes, but you get to earn money off of your designs. And some of them have been so popular that people are actually charging like $2,000, $600 for some of these articles of clothing. But there are T-shirts as low as $35, and they work their way up.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of take on trying to reinvent how you get exposure to fashion. I think, and again, I'm not a fashion expert. I've attended a few fashion runway shows, and I find one of the biggest problems is just being able to see what's going on.
This is true.
Yeah. Unless you are, Jeannie Becker and right on the front line, you're really not going to. You get to see their heads. You get to see the hairstyles go down. You don't really get to see the
So
skirts
you are right into the
shoes.
hairstyles.
Correct. Yeah. And so I guess the idea is trying to find technology to find different ways to make this more accessible. And you've got one, saying, well, let's make everybody 40 feet tall, and another company saying, well, let's put this online so that it is truly accessible to everyone.
It's really cool. Now, you are also talking about something really cool that's happened, just wrapped up in Calgary.
Yeah, I think most people have heard of Burning Man, that fantastic festival that happens out in Nevada every year. And if you've seen footage, it's spectacular in terms of these huge monstrosities, robots, and flame. Well, Canada now has its own smaller version called Beakerhead in Calgary. It's a 5-day geek-tacular spectacle.
Geek-tacular!
Geek-tacular! We've just expanded our dictionary again.
Yeah, this is amazing in that within for 5 days, what you're going to see are things like they have a garden, and you walk into the garden, and it's real plants, real flowers, but when you touch them, they play music.
Oh.
They have this massive 25-foot tall mechanical octopus that crawls around the festival fairground.
This all kind of sounds like what I heard described from the 60s on certain chemical products.
Kind of. This is definitely
you touch
stemming...
the flowers and they play music.
And you touch the mushrooms and they talk.
Well, this mechanical octopus carries 200 gallons of propane so that it can shoot and emit flame up into the skies. You have this massive giant walk-through brain. There's a catapult competition that's happening in one corner. There's this 14-foot giant cat head that projects internet art using lasers from its eyes. There's also an audio concert where everybody listens to blindfolds, or not wears blindfolds and listens to the concert. I'm sorry, but amongst all this goes on for 5 days, and it's fantastic. It's not just spectacular food.
No, it's not
events.
Spectacular. It's geek-tacular.
It's geek-tacular. So one of the things I wanted to focus on that I thought was really cool is that one event was a Ferris wheel dining experience.
Oh.
Oh yes. And so it's actually called the periodic table. And this is put together by the organizers of Beakerhead, as well as they recruited Chef Nicole Gomez to come in and create a meal that you can be had on a Ferris wheel. And this presents a number of challenges. So the first challenge was to come up with meals that you could actually eat without knives, without forks, because you're going to be swinging away
Of course you are.
in a bucket up in the air. And then the second was, because this is an entire celebration of science and art, they wanted her to come up with meals based on the periodic table of elements.
Like
from the
elements. So this is my copper.
Well,
Dinner.
It's a 2-course meal, so I've actually got her menu right here, and I'll tell you that the first thing she went after was copper, you're right,
Yep.
and chose a lemon arancini, a crispy lemon and mascarpone cheese risotto fritters. For hydrogen and oxygen, she went with compressed watermelon. For beef, for iron, she chose some Thai beef Penang chowder. And the second course, based on zinc, was polyunsaturated salmon, olive oil. Dessert, fantastic, was a chocolate cake on a stick surrounded by banana cotton candy.
Chocolate cake on a stick.
Chocolate cake on a stick.
There you go.
You know what, Sharon? I think we have to take a break here. I have to find some chocolate.
And I hope you brought enough for the whole class.
I'm going to try and scrounge enough for the whole class. And Chris Abel, you're going to stay here because you have much more coming up on What She Said on Canada Talks 167 Sirius XM. We'll be right back.